We go to chapter 19 in economics, government intervention in product markets. For government intervention, we're simply talking about actions taken by government to influence or regulate the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. That is what government intervention is about. So what are the reasons why government would have to intervene in the market? One, to correct market failure. And the second one is about social objective. So let's start with correcting market failure. To correct market failure, interventions are often necessary when the free market fails to allocate resources efficiently. So there's a market failure based on the fact that there's both inefficiency in production and inefficiency in allocation. That's why there's market failure. Sorry, please. Government have to intervene in the market or in the product market. We already know what a product market is, like I said earlier. A market where government have to, influence the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. That is the market we're talking about. So why would government want to intervene? Government is intervening because there's a market failure. What brings about market failure? Inefficiency in the market. Inefficiency in terms of both productive and allocative efficiency. So most of the time, firms in the market might have that monopoly power. And because they have that monopoly power, they reduce the output and increase the price. And in reducing output, increasing price will never bring about productive and allocative efficiency. The consumers are vulnerable. That is why there's government intervention. I think the point is clear. So reasons for government intervention: one, to correct market failure. So interventions are often necessary when the free market fails to allocate resources efficiently. Example is externalities. And when we talk about externalities, we're talking about negative externalities. So government use taxes and regulations to discourage negative externalities like pollution, or provide subsidies to encourage positive externalities like public transport and education. So government intervention might be to encourage the production of goods that bring about, or services that bring about positive externalities, and to discourage the production or the consumption of goods that bring about negative externalities. That is one reason why government will want to intervene. Two, still under correcting market failure. Two, monopolies. A single firm controlling the market can lead to higher prices and lower output. Antitrust laws and regulations on pricing and profit are used to promote competition and protect consumers. Another reason why there's government intervention is because there's monopoly. And when there's monopoly, it simply means the individual firm acts as a price maker. And because you act as a price maker, it simply means you can decide on the output and price. And most of the time, you want to sell at a higher price when you're able to reduce the price. That's the second one. The third one is public and merit goods. When we talk about public goods, we're talking about goods that are non-excludable and non-rivalry. And for merit goods are goods that without government intervention or government producing them, we cannot all consume them. Example of public good is national defense, and for merit goods is healthcare or education. So government needs to involve in this. Without government producing these things, we won't all have them. So government will use government intervention to provide like maybe subsidies or to ensure that it's widespread across the globe or the economy. So government intervention comes into public and merit goods because it can allow everybody to have access to both public and merit goods, especially merit goods. I think it's clear. Then the last one is information asymmetry. And when we talk about information asymmetry, it simply means that one party has more information than another. So there's information gap. And whenever there's information gap, it simply means consumers will act irrationally. When you don't have access to information, it does not allow you to make the right decision. So here I wrote, when one party in the transaction has more information than the other, suboptimal outcomes can occur. So regulations such as mandatory product labeling can correct this. Remember, we said we are talking about intervention in the product market, and there could be intervention in the product market because there's a market failure. Market failure could come based on information asymmetry, and when there's information asymmetry, government might compel businesses to label their products. So with labeling on products, it simply means we get to know the contents of those products, and that reduces the information gap. Do you understand? So these are ways government would want to intervene in the market to correct market failure. And the other one is to achieve social objectives. For social objective, we are talking about distribution of income. We're talking about protecting consumers and stabilizing price. So the first one is redistributing income. There's government intervention when governments use taxes and subsidies to redistribute wealth and reduce income inequality. With income, we said there's intervention in the product market. We want government intervention in the product market. Intervention in the product market means government is using its power or influence to regulate production, consumption, and distribution of goods and services, right? So if government have to do that, consumption, now let's go back to consumption. Consumption means redistribution of income. Without income, we can't consume. So government might use intervention to redistribute income through subsidies or taxes. Taxes might be progressive taxation to take from high income earners to spread across low income earners. That is redistribution of income. The second one is to protect consumers. Intervention enforce standards for product safety, quality, and fair price to protect consumers from unfair or fraudulent practices. So with government intervention, prices become affordable, product quality increases. So there's always going to be a standard for your product. And the last one is price stability. Policies like price control, like floor ceiling price, we're talking about the floor, which is minimum price, and the ceiling, which is maximum price. Government might use that to correct market failure, especially in a monopoly. I think it's clear. Any question about that?
No.
Any question about it?
No.
So that's about government intervention. Government intervention could be as a result of government wanting to correct market failure or government wanting to achieve social objective. Any question about that?
No.
Good. So that takes us to the case of government intervention. So go to the case for government intervention. There's a case. That means there's a reason for government intervention. That is what the case for government intervention means. So I wrote, the case of government intervention in product market is made when free market fail to achieve socially desirable outcomes or a situation known as market failure. So there's a case for government intervention. There's a reason for government intervention because the free market fails to give desirable results. So that means there is inefficiency in the market. So there's a need for government to intervene. That is what the case of government intervention is about. So there's a market failure in the case of a profit maximizing monopolies, as it will produce below the allocative efficiency level of output. So this leads to a debt weight loss or welfare loss and can be graphically represented. So there's productive and allocative inefficiency in the market. So this is the case for government. Government cannot just sit back and relax when things are not fine in the economy. So government has to intervene. So based on the graph analysis here, there is where we have our MC equals to AR, which is productive efficiency. There's productive efficiency where our MC equals to AR. MC equals to AR, this is productive efficiency. And there's allocative efficiency where MC equals to MR. MC equals to AR. MC equals to AR. This is allocative efficiency. Then, but the firm is producing below productive and allocative efficiency. The firm is producing at the point here. So producing at this point means you are neither productive or allocative efficiency. There's productive efficiency where we have our MC equals to AC. This is our AC. Where MC equals to AC, that's productive efficiency. And there's allocative efficiency where MC equals to AR. So the firm is not producing here or here. The firm is producing below them. So producing below them simply means there's market failure. So what should happen? Government should intervene. So government intervention would increase output. So government wants the firm to produce the highest possible output. And producing the highest possible output will be at OC. Do you get the point here?
Yeah.
But producing at OA will definitely bring about inefficiency in the market. So that is what government intervention is about. So that is the case for government intervention. Do you get the point I'm making here? So I wrote, there is market failure because a profit maximizing monopolist, a monopolist will produce where MC, this is where a monopolist will produce. A profit maximizing one will produce where MC equals to MR. MC equals to MR at this point. This is where it's going to produce. But producing here is good for the monopolist, but it's not good for consumers because consumers will be paying a higher price. A higher price and not even finding the product available because the monopolist is able to set the price higher because the products are not available. So setting the price higher means both productive and allocative efficiency are not justified. So that will bring about the case for government intervention there. I think it's clear.
Yeah.
So as a result of this situation, government should control monopolies or firms that have significant market monopoly power. So government must control firms or monopolies that have that monopoly power. Because if they continue to have monopoly power, simply means they will continue to decide output and price, which is not good for the economy or for the consumers. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Any question about that?
Yeah.
So that is the case for government intervention. So, there's a case, we talked about it, there's market failure, we've talked about it. There's definitely government intervention. So government has to intervene. So how does government intervene when there's market failure? So government will use different measures to control monopolies or mergers. Mergers might, when we talk about mergers, it means two or more firms coming together, to reduce output. That is what government is talking about. If the merger is going to bring about allocative efficiency, government would not intervene. But if mergers will bring about reducing output, then it's likely to become a monopoly. So government wants to control that. So one way in which government can control monopolies is through price control. Do you get the point here?
Mhm.
So there are different ways government can use in controlling the monopoly power. They are as follows. One, price regulation. So that's the first one we want to talk about. For price regulation, we're talking about government setting a price, a specific price, which could be a ceiling price or floor price to control the price of goods and services in the market. So here I wrote price regulation. This is a government intervention that sets specific price levels for goods and services to control market behavior, often to keep prices affordable for consumers or manage inflation. So government will set the price, and as soon as government set the price, either maximum or minimum price, all what government wants is to regulate it, to ensure that prices become affordable for consumers. So government can use what we call the maximum price, which is the same as the price ceiling or ceiling price, or the minimum price, which is what the price floor or the pricing floor. So government will use either of them to control the market failure. So a profit maximizing monopolist, based on the case study the graph we have here in figure 2. Are you there?
Yeah.
So a profit maximizing monopolist will produce where MC equals to MR. That is the point. Hold on, please. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So a profit maximizing monopolist will produce where MC equals to MR. This is where it's going to produce MC equals to MR. Well, producing at this point will not bring about allocative or productive efficiency. So what happens? Government will intervene. So that means at MC, where MC equals to MR, the monopolist will produce at OA, yes or no?
Yes.
And the price will be at OF. That is the point there. A higher price, low output. This is what we call productive and allocative inefficiency. Are you with me, please?
Mhm.
So with government intervention, with price control, which is ceiling price, a maximum price being set by government. So if government set the maximum price, it simply means a monopolist will be able to sell where MC equals to AR. Do you understand? So the point where MC equals to AR will bring about what? Productive efficiency. Do you understand the point I'm making here? So good. So at that point in time, a monopolist will be able to produce at OB. The output will increase from OA to OB. Yes or no?
Mhm.
And the price will fall from OF to OE. So that is what government intervention and price control will bring about. Is it clear, please?
Mhm.
So as soon as this happens, yes, price has been controlled, but there's a consequence for this. What are the consequences? What are the negative? What are the drawbacks when price is being set for a monopolist, especially when they cannot they cannot decide about the price anymore? The first situation will be that there will be what we call risk of losses for a natural monopoly. Are we talking about risk of losses for a natural monopolist? Here I wrote risk of losses for a natural monopoly, where the AC falls as product increases. A price ceiling set at MC. When this price ceiling is set at MC at this point, it simply means as soon as the average cost increases for a monopolist, it cannot still increase its output. It cannot increase the price because there's a price ceiling. For a monopolist, when the average cost increases, It doesn't care. It will still produce. Why? Because it can shift the price or transfer the high cost as high price. Do you get the point here? So when the AC increases, a monopolist will not be able to increase its price. Definitely, there's going to be what we call shutdown. Because when your AC increases more than your MC, you're running at a loss. And running at a loss does not encourage production. Do you get the point or not, please? What we are saying is this: where the AC is falling and the maximum price is still at the MC, there's no problem. But as soon as a monopolist, a price is set for a monopolist, outputs might not increase the way it's supposed to increase. And the monopolist will not be able to increase its price. Because it cannot increase its price, it is possible that the average cost of production starts increasing. If the average cost of production increases above the maximum price being set, it will be that the monopolist will be running at a loss. Running at a loss simply means what? You have to shut down. So that is the first setback when it comes to prices being set through the maximum price. Do you get the first point there? Yeah. The second one is reduced innovation. Lowering a monopoly's profits through price control may decrease its incentive to invest in research and development, potentially having dynamic efficiency, potentially harming dynamic efficiency, which simply means there's possibility to have inefficiency in the market. So the point I'm making is this: with prices being set, this discourages a monopolist to think about innovation. How do you want to think about innovation when your profit is reducing? Because setting a maximum price means you can never sell, you can no longer sell at OF, you have to sell at OE. So that means your price has reduced. At that point in time, you might be making a normal profit, not super normal profit again. Do you understand? So that discourages incentive, or that discourages research and development. So there's no incentive to spend or to invest on R&D. So that is reduced innovation, which might not be good in the long run. And the last one is bureaucratic cost, which will bring about government failure. Government is not an economist, so they might not even understand the actual cost and revenue the monopolist is making or incurring. So what do they have to do? They might have to monitor the events or the happenings in the market. And this means they might have to employ more workers in terms of that. And that increases the cost for government. So yeah, the third problem or setback is that with price regulation, it requires a large administrative body to monitor the monopolist pricing and ensure fair practices, which comes with a cost for the government. So maximum price might also bring about government failure. And even setting maximum price might lead to selling in the black market. We talked about that before now. Yes or no? Yeah. So these are the setbacks when it comes to setting maximum price. But maximum price has to be set when there's market failure, especially with monopolies. And to set a maximum price, it means government is using price control system, which is what? The ceiling price. Any question about that? No. Okay. Okay, I'll write under this one. Price control.
Recording in progress.
There's a case we talked about it, market failure, we talked about it. But there's definitely government intervention. So government has to intervene. So how does government intervene when it comes to when there's a failure? So government will use different measures to control monopolies or mergers. Mergers might, when we talk about mergers, it means firms, two or more firms coming together, to reduce output. That's what government is talking about. If the merger is going to bring about allocative efficiency, government will not intervene. But if